Let's welcome Makunde to the stage. Woo!
Test 1, 2, 3. All right, guys. So we're going to start off building off what we talked about yesterday. So yesterday we talked about the stages of networking, right? And now we're going to transition into how do we build community. So stand up. Everybody stand up. The activities never end. Awesome. So this is how it's going to work. If you're with one thing, you're going to go on the one side of the room. If you're with the other thing, you're going to go on the other side of the room. I think the first one might be a bit controversial. If you're with Harold's, get on the left side of the room. Uncle Remus, get on the right side of the room. Uncle Remus is this way. Oh, wait, I lied. Harold's is this way. Uncle Remus is that way. If you feel like you're somewhere in the middle, stay in the middle. There's no middle. Wow. She said pick a side. All right. Okay, so you guys stay within the size you chose right now. Now split this way. Now what is this? Horizontal, diagonal, whichever way. Mild sauce, hot sauce.
Now, see, that one you can make.
But if you were to choose one, and you can only get one sauce, if you were to choose mild sauce, get on the left side, get right house. You said what? Mild sauce or hot sauce? Chicken. Huh? Closer to the stage is hot sauce. Away from the stage is mild sauce. And you stay on the same. Okay. Now I know what type of people inside of this room. I got another one for y'all. You guys can go. So hold new sides. If you're on the left, Afrobeats. On the right, R&B. If you were to choose one between the two. Oh, I'm looking over here. At the left, R&B. On the right, Afrobeats. 10 seconds. Choose. Don't worry, I am. There's no middle. You gotta pick a side. About to pick a side. Okay, I think it's the last one. This is coming with watching shows. Literally anything else or anime. Pick your side. It is very broad, but don't worry. There's a purpose for this. Okay, we got the anime fans over here. Oh, I love it. Okay, you guys can go back to your seats now. Thank you for participating in some controversy. So, what are the takeaways from this activity? What was the purpose of that? I'm about to switch over. Okay, there we go. So one, there's not a singular thing that identifies a person. You can like multiple things and be multifaceted. You're not defined by one particular trait. So like you can like anime and like R&B and do other things. You're not just one thing. So that was the first thing. Two, there's something that unites everybody. There's probably certain times where people were pitted against each other, but when we switched it, people were on the same sides. Even people on opposite sides might have been on the same sides. So we had Uncle Remus and Harold's, but maybe some people who like Uncle Remus like hot sauce better than mild sauce, or the other way around. So just because you may have disagreements or differences with other people doesn't mean that you can't find something that unites you. Three, I was again ahead of my thing. Things that you disagree on can bring us together. So like even though one person might like Harold's or one person might like Uncle Remus, you guys still like chicken. So it can still bring you together, and you guys can still have a fun debate about it without being disrespectful, and it can still bring you together. And 3 or 4, community is not being a monolith. So just because you are in the same community and you guys have some of the same interests doesn't make you the same person. It's about different perspective, supporting each other, and nurturing diversity of thought. So that's why I asked, stay on the same side, mild sauce or hot sauce. Yes, you guys both like Harold's, but you guys have different perspectives on it. You guys have different experiences with it that you bring to the table, and the collective is what makes a community. So, oh wait, I'm sorry, I didn't ask. Can I get the throwing Q&A thing? Yes. Ooh, no. I'll try to do one hand. Thank you. Can somebody describe in their own words what they believe community is? Anybody at all? There's no wrong answers. Thank you. I'm gonna walk over. I was tempted, but I was like, no.
So, a community is a group of people that come together based on common interests, likes, dislikes, or basically come together to make for a purpose, whether it be to for the betterment or it's for to make things better or to keep things the same.
Definitely, I like that. Anybody else have a perspective on what they believe community is? If not, I'll just put the textbook definition, but the way she defined it, I like it a little better. But pretty much it's fellowship with others, resulting in sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. So, community is often two things: what you're born into and what you choose to be a part of. So going back to the activity, right? What you're born into, like most people, from what I'm new to Chicago, so correct me if I'm wrong, but for what I've gathered so far, most people who like Uncle Remus are from like the West Side. That am I right? Most people like Harold's are from the South Side. I'm also right. So there's things that you're born into, right? In like, if you chose Afrobeats, most likely you're African or you're first generation. If you chose R&B, most likely you're Black American. So like there's communities and there's, because of what we're born into, we might have certain tendencies and things like that. And then there's things we choose to be a part of. Like, for example, like what do the people call like the Beehive, the Swifties, the anime, for example. Those are things that over time throughout our experiences, we're like, oh, you know, I kind of like this. And then choose to be a part of a community and interact with those communities. So, that didn't animate the way I thought it would. But community is things that you often support, or it drives things that you support, things that you want to know, and things that you want to connect to. So if you want to connect more with computer science, it's advantageous to join a computer science community. Okay, so community, why is it important? Let's get one person. Oh, do you still have the thing? Okay, you have the power. Throw it to somebody random. Whoever catches it has to answer. Ooh, good throw. I like that. Okay. Why do you think community is important?
Community is important because it can help you grow as a person. It might change your perspective on things. And also, well, yeah, those two.
Perfect. Awesome. Throw it to one more random person, and then we're going to see.
Anywho, community is important in regards to like sharing resources. Not necessarily the person you know or like or in community has the same access and ability to navigate through the industry or through life the same way, as well as just generating networks. Again, the more people who are having either the greater access to opportunities, resources, or just knowledge, the better people can be collectively.
Also, I like that. Definitely community can elevate you and give you access to things you might have not had access to before. A wise person also told me this. So community is important because of three things. It can support you while you're still learning yourself. It uplifts you when you question yourself. and remains a safe place while you are yourself. So it should be somewhere where you feel safe, comfortable, and where you can grow. So let's get into how do we find community? So one, seeking out your interests and passions, like things that you're passionate about, things that you like. Go to like Eventbrite, Meetup, different things like that. Like I like to run. I go to runners meetups and try to things like that. So be intentional about seeking out opportunities to meet people, which also goes into 2, getting out your comfort zone. Don't only limit yourself to things that you know. Maybe try new experiences that you never even thought of. Like I really like to dance, and I was never like, I knew how to dance when I was young. I was forced to dance actually, but that's a different story. But I wasn't like over here like busting out moves, like, but I was an athlete in high school, and in college I wasn't an athlete anymore. I was like, and one of my friends was like, would you join the Afrobeats dance team? I was like, nah. And then my sister was like, why not? Like, you got something better to do? I was like, I don't. So I ended up joining it. Was like the most fun experience ever, and I would have never like done it on my own. So just every so often try something out of your comfort zone. And that dance team was like some of my core friends to this day. Spread love and form genuine connections. We talked a lot about genuine connections yesterday, but that's also super important. Always approach with the intent to connect with people, not with the intent to try to get something out of an interaction. 4, utilize platforms to find events. So I think I mentioned some of them: Eventbrite, Meetup, Instagram. Even me, for my Instagram, I have a separate Instagram specifically for Chicago where I only follow Chicago pages, so I can always see like different things going on. 5, volunteering is a great way to meet people and align with people who are passionate about the same things as you. Like things like volunteers here today. Thank you all for coming. That align with some of the things that you align with. And then 6, fellowshipping with the community that you're born into, cultural events, music events, et cetera, et cetera. These are all ways you can go about finding community. But you might be thinking, this is community building 101. How do I build community? So I'm going to say, how do you build community? I'm at a lens of computer science as well. Because the goal is I want to inspire you guys to, if there's not already a CS community at your campus, to create one. And if there is, to continue to add on to it. So just talking a little bit about communities I've built. I've built a couple of them, starting with the Morgan State Computer Science community, which is still going on, and it was really helpful by sharing a lot of opportunities and other people sharing mentorships, internships, et cetera. And then now with the Chicago Tech community, I was able to throw a couple different events around the city, happy hours, career development, things like this. And it's been a really great experience. So going down into how do we build community, I think it goes down to 4 main things. So 1, identifying and uniting people. 2, providing value. 3, having an inclusive environment. And 4, creating a culture with sustainability in mind. So I'll get into the specifics of that later. So let's start with identify and unite. So 1, you want to identify what you want to unite people over, right? If you guys are all anime fans, okay, you're creating like an anime community. If you guys are all a computer science majors, you're all computer science community. It doesn't even have to be that specific. It can just be like you want to make some friends, you want a new friend group. But the idea is you need like, what is the intention for this thing that I'm going to create, however it manifests. 2, find a way to group and organize your target audience so you guys will be able to interact. So the easiest form is a group chat, but some people do like Reddit threads, people do like Slack channels. There's a lot of different ways. So think about what is the best way to organize people in my community in a way where we can interact or meet up. 3, put yourself in situations where you can find people within your target audience. So the Chicago Tech community, originally it was like 2 people. And then there was an Afrotech happy hour during COVID because they weren't doing Afrotech. And I came there and I already had the group chat there. So I came there with the intention to meet more people in tech. And through that, I was able to meet a lot of people and add them to the group chat. And then over time, it started growing and growing and growing. So put yourself in situations where you can meet people within the community they're trying to foster. 4, even if you're not in a specific situation, like a networking event, but let's say you meet somebody at like Target or something, and you guys happen to have a conversation. They're like, "Oh yeah, like I really do like computer science," and you're like, "Oh, me too. Let me add you to the group." Always pay attention to different ways and cues. You're never going to be, especially like at the specific place, but like there's going to be many times where you're able to connect with people on different levels, and be aware of that, and also maybe be able to refer them to other communities as well. So the next step is providing value, and I think this is the most important part. The last thing you want to do is like create a group chat, and then nobody's really talking, or people just start to leave, and you're like, why? I thought we're all like here together. Like, what's going on? But the key is to provide value. You need to, 1, have people talk about it so other people can draw themselves to community. It's called, I believe, like a net promoter score, right? So you want your community to have a high net promoter score, so people are like, oh, like, you know, I really benefited from attending this X event, or I really benefited from being in X group chat that always share like great opportunities. And value doesn't necessarily have to be so transactional, right? It can just be something like they have a good vibe, and that's value to them. You don't have to necessarily give out things for it to provide value. I think value just comes in being genuine, 1, but also like depending on what the intention of the community is, know who your target audience is. So, for example, a computer science community, people want to do resume, mock interviews, opportunities, etc., like that. But anime community, right? You'll probably want to do watch parties, want to talk about shows. If you're in a book club, you want to talk about books. So just think about what it is for, and then surround the value around that. So in the CS context, I think I talked about it. So sharing scholarships, sharing open internships, hosting events, promote other clubs' events, organize study sessions. Those are actually very, very useful. It's always good to study before the study session so you understand, because sometimes I can get distracted. But teaching other people is a good way to learn. It's kind of off topic though. And then the next part is making people feel included. So just because you share similar interests, it doesn't mean you're all the same person. So take time to start understanding individuals in the community. I'll give you guys an example, right? Let's say we're all playing like pickup basketball, and you're the last person to get picked for pickup basketball. And then once you're in the game, nobody's passing you the ball. They keep shooting. Everybody's having a good time, but you just kind of feel left out. Some of y'all might relate to that. I know I do this a little bit until I got better. But you have to understand what they're good at. Maybe we're forcing them to be like a shooter, but really they need to be in the paint, right? So take the time to understand what they are, and then you can use that in how to incorporate them in the community and make them feel more included. So really take the time to understand the people in the community, and this goes into the next thing, creating a safe and sustainable culture for them. So what does this mean? The first impression is essential. I'll give you guys an example. If you guys are going to like somebody's place and they have a whole bunch of dishes just racked up, and you walk in and they say something like, "Oh, can you wash your plate after you're done?" You're going to be like, what do you mean? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense, right? And even if they didn't say that, you want to be inclined to wash your plate after you're done, because, I mean, maybe you would, but like you're like, this place, I'm just going to stack it right on top of it, right? But if the first impression, like everything was spotless, like you can eat off the floor and you'll be so clean, right? You would be more inclined to like, okay, after I'm done, let me put this inside of a dishwasher and keep this place the way it was beforehand. It's the same way when it comes to community and creating like a inclusive environment. The way you respond to people is also very important, especially if you're the one who created the community. So you have to be very intentional about how you approach situations, conflict, and different things like that. So I talked to that, so I'll go on to the next point. So I keep highlighting this. People are not only there because of the similarities, but because of the differences, and that's what really makes a community thrive, the diversity of thoughts. So you really want to encourage diversity of thought. You don't want to discourage people because they might think a different way from you. 4, this is very important. Keep sustainability in mind. you don't want to burn yourself out. And there's many examples of a community that thrived on one person, and if the person wasn't there anymore, then the community dies. You want it to keep on going after you're not in it anymore and beyond. And how you do that is making sure that everybody knows that they are welcome to speak in this community. It's not just you talking, but anybody can share opportunity. Anybody can share mentorship opportunity. Everybody has the power to make this community go forward, not just you. Before I continue, does anybody have any questions? No? Okay, cool. This is the last point. I think community building is very important because of something I call parallel networking. Now, oftentimes we try to network with people who are like in places where we want to be. Like, and I think that's great. Like, it's good for like aspirational things, right? But somebody who's 35 is not gonna know what HackerRank is most of the time, right? They're might tell you to like study differently. So they don't have full context of what the things that are new coming out, recent coming out, that your other peers might know about. Like, if you ask me about what scholarships are going on, I'm not gonna know. Yes, I might be a software engineer, but I won't be the best person to help you get to that next level. That's why it's really important to network with your peers. A lot of times when I ask students, like, do you know what your peers are doing? They don't know. Some people don't know people in the same class as them, what their name is. I think it's really important to get to know everybody around you who's striving to get to the same place as you. So parallel networking, I don't know if it's actually a real term, but parallel networking is intentionally networking with people who are trying to get to the same place with you and build a community with them. So there we go. I think great ways to utilize your community would be like things like mock interviewing. This is something that I actually did. I had a Calendly link. Calendly is pretty much like where you can put all the times you're available and people can book times with you. I had a Calendly link. I had the Morgan State Computer Science group chat at that point in time, and I dropped my Calendly link inside of that group chat, and people were booking it up like every week. And that was great practice for me to like prepare for interviews. Reviewing resumes. Sometimes we would come in groups with our resumes together and we'll review our resumes together. And it's good because like, even though you're all students, but you can see like, oh, I like the way they worded that thing that we both did. And you can take that into your own thing, right? So they don't necessarily have to be an expert. Like the fact that you guys are in the same level is very advantageous. Going to conferences together. Going to conferences can be a very daunting thing, especially alone. So like, having somebody with you can really break down those barriers. And then last, just sharing opportunities. And sometimes people can find this last part slightly intimidating because they're like, well, I'm applying for the same thing. But I don't think it should be a competition. Like there's enough space for everybody. And I feel like you should have enough confidence in your own ability that you and your peers be able to get in. I think I accidentally made the same slide twice. I think we are done here. Do we have any questions? If not, then thank you for your time. We're about to transition to the next section. And you guys, we're going to have a brief intermission. So if you guys want to stand up, use the bathroom, get some extra waffles. We're going to start again in about 10 minutes.